Welcome. Welcome to Melrose Abbey. Melrose Abbey, of all places, haven't been here in so long. More than a year. But it's nice to get back. Nice to be in here again. So we'll have a little wander around and show you some of the places. Some of it's a little bit cordoned off at the moment. But we'll be able to get into it and show you around the inside. And certainly show you the grounds and the cemetery. Hello, Gemma. So I'll show you some of the more interesting features, including where King Alexander II is buried, and including Robert the Bruce's heart. Thank you, Gemma, for the award. So it's all very safely done at the moment, and you've got to pre-book your tickets, and there's a one-way system going in the little entranceway, and there's some places are cordoned off. You can see they're doing some inspections at the moment. That's why there's a kind of a cherry picker up there. They're making sure it's not going to fall down any further. So, Melrose Abbey, one of the 4 major abbeys in South Scotland, along with Jedburgh and Dryburgh and Kelso, and we'll probably visit all 4 of them in the coming few weeks, I would imagine, because, you know, they're local and I can get to them easily. I can easily book the tickets and get in for free. Well, I can get in for free anyway, because I'm a member of Historic Scotland, but you can't get in for free. Not quite. Yeah, so it says there high level care, it says over there. So the Abbey was founded in the 1100s, 1136 it was founded, and that's how it used to look. Well, it's not expensive to get in, it's only about £10 or something. It's not like where you are, Gemma. It's not that expensive. So there's still standing. We can see this window here is up there, and then you've got the gallery along here, the commander's house here. That one down there. And so all of this area with the brown roofs, that's all here, was here, before it was slighted by Henry VIII and Richard II and so on. And I would probably be living in here, in among the sheep. Yeah. It's not expensive to get into. Historic Scotland. It's there. Historic Scotland are the people who look after it, so you can go onto their website and check. Hello, Laurie. Right, let's show you Robert the Bruce's heart, shall we? Because that's always a highlight. The grass is doing fairly well here. Yeah, so here is said to be Robert the Bruce's heart buried here. Historic England, you might have. A noble heart may have nae knees, give freedom fairly. So essentially that means a noble heart is never at ease until it's free, or without freedom, which is about right, I would say. So said to be the place where Robert the Bruce's heart is buried. I mean, it's probably not right on that spot. It's probably in a more secret location. But they say it's here, or it definitely is here in the grounds of the Abbey. They say that Robert, when he died, he wanted to go on crusade. It was his religious ambition was to go on crusade and fight against the Moors or the Arabs or whoever was there. And he didn't, but after he died, his heart was taken by his good friend Douglas, and put into a casket. And Douglas went on crusade, and he was involved in a battle, and the situation was pretty bad. They knew that they weren't going to survive. Likely, they're probably going to be attacked and killed. So Douglas wore Bruce's heart in a locket around his neck, and he took it off and he threw it forwards at the enemy, and then all the rest of the Scots charged towards the enemy, following Bruce's heart. And eventually essentially all the Scots died, but they found the casket on the battlefield, and they brought it back here to Melrose because he wanted his heart to be buried here at Melrose Abbey. So the rest of Robert the Bruce is in Dunfermline Abbey, but his heart is here in Melrose, buried supposedly there, but in reality probably in a more secret place than this, but within the grounds of the Abbey for sure. It was discovered in the 1920s and then rediscovered again in the 1990s, I think. So yeah, Robert the Bruce's heart, and just through there is the high altar, and we'll show you inside, I hope. That is where King Alexander is buried in there. King Alexander II. And we've got here a lot of graves. So we'll be able to wander through without disturbing them too much. But yeah, that's the high altar through there, and I think we can get in. I hope we can get in. And it's a beautiful cemetery, beautiful graveyard with some really interesting graves. Beautiful carvings, like these. So actually, Gemma, if you're a member of English Heritage, I think it's called, and if you're a member for more than a year, you also get free access to the Historic Scotland sites. So there is a reciprocal arrangement where after a year you get free entry to the other one in England and Wales. So that's pretty good, isn't it? And it's a beautiful, peaceful little graveyard. And the Abbey itself, of course, is stunning, looking down on you if you were buried here. So you'd get all the nobles of the actual nobles, the king and the high nobility, the aristocracy. They would be buried within the Abbey itself, and then you would get like your tradespeople and middle class people might be buried here in the graveyard outside. And if you are the king, you get buried under the altar, the holiest part of the Abbey, most eastern part. And the size of your gravestone probably reflects your status in life. So this looks like... Is that somebody reading, do you think? Is that a reader? Might be. So that could be, and judging from the hair, or the wig, thank you again, Gemma. Judging from the wig, that looks as if it might be somebody 17th century, 18th century maybe. So an academic. Look at the jacket as well. That looks 18th century to me. So maybe an academic, a doctor perhaps. Perhaps a doctor. And then you get these really tiny ones, and you often get skulls on them. So that looks like a skull to me. And there's an angel over there, that brown, the dark browny one. It looks like an angel. Don't you think? Yeah. Well, these, I mean, the graves here in the Abbey and in the grounds, they'll go back 800 or 900 years. Some of them. These ones that are in really good condition, these will be maybe 200 years old at the most. But yeah, some of them will go back really far. And quite often the very small ones are the oldest ones. It's an unusual gravestone, that one, isn't it? Probably an electrician's grave. So yeah, like I say, the really small ones, by the way, watch out for the dips in the ground, often are the oldest and, of course, hardest to read, sadly. Let's have a look at this big obelisk over here. Have a read of some of these before we go into the Abbey itself. Sometimes they have fallen over, the stones, sometimes they're placed down flat right from the beginning. Thomas Smith, builder, Darnick. Born 24th of June 1785, born 10th of January 1857. You got to send a copy? Yeah, let me see it. I'll have a look at it. Jean Turnbull, his wife, 6th of January 1790. So this is good condition, but if you look here, it might have been put up as recently as 1960 for Bessie Agnes Smith. That one 1910. This one looks interesting. Let's see if we can read this one. We can step like this. John Smith, late mason in Darnick, died 17th of October 1815, aged 67. Agnes Smith, his daughter, died 23rd of October 1796, aged 15 years. Mary Smith, his daughter, aged 13 years, I think. Agnes and Andrew, two of his children who died in infancy. Mary Williamson, aged 76, 1829. Agnes Smith, his sister, died 30th of January 1842, aged 79. That's not bad, age 79. And this one in memory of James Smith, architect, Edinburgh, H.M. Master Mason. His Majesty, or be Her Majesty? Yeah, His Majesty's Master Mason for Scotland. No, Her Majesty, it'd be Victoria. Born 1779, died 1862, and Catherine Rintoul, his spouse, 1790, 1867. John Smith, MD, Edinburgh. Yeah, that's our side. Well, till he come. It's a good life. It's Master Mason of Scotland and a doctor. Good lives lived. George Bunyan Miles, who died 76, and Grace Isabella Chisholm, who died 85 years. It's pretty good. So yeah, people still being buried here into the 1900s. It always makes me slightly worried when you see a depression in the ground like that. That's an ornate one, that, isn't it? That's quite nice. Let's go and have a look at ones over here. Peter Maxwell of Darnick. A lot of people from Darnick. So Darnick, we've been through Darnick a few times. It's just a little village a mile up the road. Look at this violin here. That's good, isn't it? A violin and what's that? A clarinet, is it? So nowadays you get photos on graves. Sometimes you see a photo of somebody, but that's the equivalent of that. So that's been happening for a long time. Some people don't like seeing a photo of the deceased on the grave, but it's been happening for hundreds of years. So we'll go inside in a moment. And reaching out the depressed ground, Skyle, yes. It is slightly worrying. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it fascinating? This one, John Bower, died 1845. Margaret Scott, wife of John Bower. Robert Bower, whose mortal remains rest here, was a lover of all that is true and good, a steady and patriotic defender of public rights, and a man who, in his literary genius and aspirations, lacked only that health and length of life to distinguish him greatly, which nature sometimes denies to her most gifted sons. That's interesting. Died 33. I wonder what he wrote, Robert Bower. Like a gleam shone bright and is gone, it says. So somebody thought a lot of him, that's for sure. Nice coat of arms. Jessie Margaret Bower Scott of Viewbank, Douglas Road, Melrose. Master blacksmith, Thomas Scott. It's a nice Celtic cross kind of thing. You got a lot of romantic imagery like Celtic crosses coming into vogue when Sir Walter Scott lived here, and he did a lot to popularise the history of Scotland and sort of not exactly reinvent the history of Scotland, but to make people more aware of it. So you'd often get things like the Celtic crosses. There's another one over there, appearing in the early 1800s. In memory of Janet Clapperton, wife of Andrew Drummond, Darnick, who died 4th January 1836, aged 64. Also of Betty, their daughter, and 3 sons who died in infancy. Also of James and William, their sons, who died in the island of Jamaica. James in 1821, aged 19, and William, aged 21. And what they were doing in Jamaica, probably slave owners, I would imagine. Look at that tiny little one there, just on the ground. Let's go and see Brewster over here. Because he was an impressive man. So all this is put down here so that that cherry picker can get into the grounds without doing too much damage. There's a skull and crossbones. You want to visit here? Absolutely you do. Absolutely. Sacred to the memory of Sir David Brewster, K.H. K.H. Knight something? Knight. What's the H? Anyway, born in 11th December 1781, died at Allerley, which is nearby. Also of Dame Juliet Macpherson, his beloved wife. One of these days. Who died at St Andrews, 1850. Also of James Brewster, BCS, their eldest son, who died at Daimerador, Bengal, Presidency, 1851. Charles Macpherson Brewster, who drowned in the Tweed, aged 13. So, it says, "The Lord is my light" there. That's because David Brewster was an inventor and scientist. And he invented the kaleidoscope and did a lot of work into the nature of light. He was fascinated by light and colours, and he invented the kaleidoscope as a kind of an aid to artists, so that artists could see colours and be inspired by the changing patterns and colours of light. but he was very much interested. You know, he was a man of science. It's thought nowadays that a kaleidoscope is a child's toy, but it was really developed for artists and for the inquiry of scientists into the nature of light. So yeah, David Brewster there, mostly lost to history now. Mostly, most people don't know him now, but he was a very important man in the 19th century world of physics. Yeah, and he lived other side of the Tweed, in Gattonside, and is buried here. Sir David and his wife, Dame Juliet Macpherson, buried here in the Abbey. So even though he was a knight, buried outside the Abbey, because it's basically full inside, unless you're a king. And you see, going up here, up that column, and over here as well, you see all those little niches. There's lots of places where it looks as if there should be a statue, and there would have been a statue probably up to the Reformation. So they were, the statues were removed, but there's still a lot of really beautiful carvings. Linda, so let's zoom in on this guy here. That's quite a face, isn't it? It's impressive. I'm doing well, thank you, Patricia. How are you? And there. Broadcasting just from my phone, yes. No lens, no microphone. Yeah, the quality's become really good over the past few days, actually, hasn't it? I find. Look at that face. Wow. Isn't that amazing? And that one as well. So these might be, well, most of the building is probably from the 1300s. So a lot of these carvings will be 600 years old-ish. So there you can see one of the statues in that niche up here. So there would be statues in all of these little niches, until they were removed. There's another one on that one over there. Let's zoom in. So, saints, there might be Christopher and Mary, Margaret, Peter, Paul. The building's dedicated to St. Mary, but there's really beautiful statues of St. Peter and St. Paul within the Abbey itself, which I will show you as we get round there. But I want to show you the tracery as well. So the stone where you would have the stained glass, you've got this beautiful intricate carving here. So that should be filled with stained glass, and what's called the tracery is the thin stonework that the glass would sit between. And it's quite beautiful. It's a really excellent example of stonemasonry. And you can go right to the top, by the way. There's staircases a staircase that goes right to the top of the building. And you get a very good view from the top, I can tell you. Oh, looks like somebody's flying an airplane over there. A model airplane. Is it going to come back? There it is. You can probably hear it. Yeah, the quality is really good. Like I say, the last few days in particular, it's so much better quality. I'll step back a little bit farther so we can see the full Abbey from this angle. Just about, anyway. Doesn't that look stunning? To think of the people who've been here. Robert the Bruce, King Alexander. But likely you'd have had Mary, Queen of Scots here. I don't know if maybe Victoria came here. William Wallace, almost certainly. You could spend out, you really could. You really, really could. As I said, Walter Scott, I think probably Turner and Wordsworth, maybe Byron coming here. Are the headstones old? Well, yep, some of them. Some of them go back to, like I say, maybe the 1300s, 1400s. Most of them, most of these ones are from the 1800s. But if we go into the abbey itself, we'll be able to see King Alexander, who died in about 1250. I mean, the oldest ones don't have dates on. The oldest and smallest ones, they don't have dates, unfortunately. And you can't see anything other than vague outlines of angels or devils. What happened to the windows? They were put in by Henry VIII. Can anyone be buried here? No. No, absolutely not. Back when Henry VIII was on the throne, he wanted to join the crowns of Scotland and England. He wanted to have power over Scotland. So he wanted his son to marry Mary Stuart, Mary Queen of Scots, and he launched a campaign, a military campaign called the Rough Wooing. He was trying to woo Queen Mary, Mary Queen of Scots. So he sent his armies up to the south of Scotland, in particular, to destroy places like Melrose Abbey. So he sent them to Melrose and to Dryborough, and there was battles and yeah. So a lot of the building was destroyed by Henry VIII. Obviously, it didn't work because she married the King of France instead, and she became the Queen of France. And then she came back to Scotland and to England, and Henry's daughter Elizabeth I had her killed, murdered for treason. But the happy ending, of course, is that just a generation later, the Scottish king, because of previous marriages, the Scottish king became the King of England as well. So James V of Scotland became James I of England. So what Henry wanted to happen sort of happened, but in reverse, when the Scottish king became the King of England rather than the King of England becoming King of Scotland. So that's a nice little happy ending, especially for us Scots to think about. Is that airplane again? Right, let's go inside, shall we? Let's go inside the Abbey. So no, you can't be buried here if you're just anybody. You've got to, well, now you can't be buried here. But you used to be able to be buried here if you were somebody like a master blacksmith. There. In memory of Jessie Margaret Bower Scott, I think that is, of Viewbank Douglas Road, Melrose, and her father Thomas Scott, master blacksmith. Robert Bower. Oh yes, we've read that one, haven't we? We've read that one. What else have we got? This is the dust of Janet Carr. Now that's interesting. The spelling of Carr there. It's here also lies, Lyes. So the spelling of Carr or Kerr, it may be pronounced. If you think of the actress Deborah Carr, you can see the change of the spelling there. Do they have security? Well, there's a gate. there's cameras. Yeah, spouse to George Stoddart, born in Darnick, who died 1772, aged 43. So he was born 1729. It's gated, yes. There is a gate. Yeah, and there'll be cameras up. Don't try coming here, but it's not as if there's patrols or anything. Can you read that? Sometimes you can read it better on the screen than I can see it. It's definitely a skull and crossbones. Is that an M or an N? N. So NOAL or at Mall. Tomol. Aren't gated or anything. Yeah. The ones you did, well, I think all the abbeys here are gated. The four, Melrose, Jedburgh, Dryburgh and Kelso, are all gated and locked at night. So yeah, all closed up. But I mean, it's not massive security, you know. It's not terrible. Let's have a read of this one, if we can. This one looks pretty old. Something again. Lots of people from Darnick buried here. I think Darnick may be the slightly posher part. Isn't there any way to clean the group? Well, I mean, difficult. Something. Let's see. Christ revives the hallowed dust there as a faithful steward. That's hard to read. Locked up. Well, yeah. Robert Heighton, 1838. Elizabeth Fisher, his wife. Notice that it's always man first and then his wife. Also Elizabeth Fielding. And Annie Fraser Fielding. Okay, yeah, okay. Well, I thought locked, but yes. But yeah, as I say, often the very smallest ones like that one are the oldest and most interesting. There's another Clapperton, Robert Clapperton, Betty Clapperton. Just looking for a date. There's something, some year 17 something. 1817, aged something years. This is a beautiful doorway with the icons above, but notice that the icons are beheaded. So when the Reformation came, when the Protestants came, or the Covenanters came, they destroyed the Catholic icons, or a lot of them, by chipping off their heads, that sort of thing. Right, so hopefully we'll keep a good signal as we go inside. Yeah, so the bell tower you can get in, except you can't at the moment. I was saying there's areas cordoned off at the moment because it's being inspected. Also, Historic Scotland's got to make a little bit of money, which means that people can't just come in and out when they want to, so they've got to gate off a little bit. So this is the high altar. This is where Alexander is buried. This is the holiest part of the abbey, the church. And up there, let's zoom in, you can see St. Peter, I think that is. St. Peter and St. Paul up there. Look at the colours of the stones, how the colours change. But again, look at that gorgeous tracery up there. And there's more on this window as well. just imagine being a monk here, say in the 1400s, and you're up at 4 o'clock in the morning in the summer, and the sunlight, because we're looking east here, the sunlight comes through this window and it lights up the saints and the scenes from the Bible that would probably have been here in amazing colours, the reds and greens and blues lighting up the whole of the inside of the building here. As you went about your prayers, perhaps, or something more mundane, maybe scrubbing the floors. Look, Emma. Can you imagine maybe the chanting that would be going on? I noticed the builders are using the niches in the wall for their tools. Yeah, imagine the chanting of the monks. Would have been stone floors that you can see there rather than the gravel. Would have been stone flags. Like Tintern, yeah. Or I don't know if any of you have been to Revo. Revo Abbey would be the mother church of Melrose. Yeah. I don't know many buildings that would be being put up now that'll still be here in 1,000 years. It's beautiful and intricate as well, isn't it? Looks like there's a set of steps up there. I reckon. Visited Scotland about 10-12 years ago. Went to an abbey, perhaps find the photos help you work out which one. I'll do my best. So these would be nobles, lords, knights, buried here within the abbey, most likely. And if we go over there to the gallery, we'll have a look at some of those as well. Some of the ones that are in there. They do have character, yes, they definitely do. Did you notice the change of colour there? So much of it is this pink sandstone, but there we've got this more yellowy colour as well. And again, the carvings up there. A lot of this, if you've ever seen the Scott Monument in Edinburgh, if you've seen the Scott Monument, its designer was from Melrose, and I reckon a lot of the inspiration for the Scott Monument came from the Abbey here. Sandstone from the local quarry, probably, yeah. If we see here, John Morrow inscription. So the man who designed the Scott Monument, he wasn't a well-known mason or anything or architect, but he took the name John Morrow because that's who was the architect of Melrose Abbey. Above and to the right over the door are two inscriptions. Both refer to John Morrow, a French-born master mason who doubtless made a significant contribution to the building of the present church. The panel above is a replica. The original is on display in the Commendator's house. Thank you, Roger. So it says John Morrow, and then I can't read much else. Him, something Carlet was, I and born in something, and had in keeping something of lantern. It's hard to read, isn't it? It's hard to read. You can see some of the rest of it. I don't think we can get into the commander's house at the moment. I think it's closed off. But when we go back in there, I'll show you the original if I can. Look at this roof. Isn't this stunning? But polyfiller, what about that? What about that whole layer? I think that's a bit too big for polyfiller. Sacred to the memory of Alicia Catherine, the beloved daughter of Andrew and Alicia Ann Seton Carr of Kippellaw, who departed this life on 24th September 1824, aged 10 years. Also the memory of Anna Douglas, wife of the Reverend John Seton Carr of Kippellaw. Reverend John Seton Carr. Edith Eliza, beloved wife of Henry Seton Carr of Kippellaw. Sir Henry Seton Carr, CMCDL, late of Kippellaw, lost in the wreck of the Empress of Ireland in the St. Lawrence River. Jane Jarvie Thorburn, his second wife. Somebody died in Canada. How did they get up there to build the roofs? Scaffolding. You would build scaffolding up and up and up. And you'd have cranes as well. Let's have a look at the this interpretation panel here. So there you go, royal connections. For centuries, Melrose Abbey was closely linked to the crown, while it never gained the regal position of Iona or Dunfermline. Its location close to England and association with the kings has been a special place. That's Scotland's history. So there is about Alexander II. In 1249, Alexander broke the tradition of royal burials at Iona and Dunfermline Abbeys by requesting to be buried at Melrose. After he died while campaigning against the Norse, that was in the Western Isles in the Hebrides. But although he was a warrior king, and it says he died while campaigning against the Norse, he actually died of disease rather than in battle. Buried at Melrose, never caught on, which is a shame. Yeah, an active king campaigning in Galway and Murray. So yeah, David the First here, he was one of my heroes of Scotland. He was a very cultured man, a very European man who wanted Scotland to be all modern and European. So he invited French monks over here to build abbeys, and it was French Cistercians who came here and actually built the abbey in the 1100s. Pretty amazing though, isn't it? Pretty amazing. Can we get over there? A little bit, okay. Again, amazing roof. I'll have to head out that way, incidentally. And here you can see where there would be more walls. So this isn't the end of the abbey here. There would be more, pillars like this. You can see these pillars. There'll be more of them in here, going all the way to the end. So it would actually be significantly wider than it would appear, and longer, of course. So it looks as if I think there would be holy water here, and there. To the memory of Robert Boston, sometimes farmer at Langshaw, who died at Melrose 18 September 1815, and Mary Rutherford, his wife. Also John Boston, their son, who died at Melbourne, Victoria, 19th of May. So it won't be buried here, it'll be buried in Australia, I would assume. Something I can see at Gattonside, or of Gattonside. I can't read that very well. Let's see if I can read this one. How's the picture, by the way? How's the picture quality? Can't read that. Good quality, good. It says it's great, so pleased. Get these ones. Sacred to the memory of 17th of February 1701, who died in Edinburgh 1772. Picture quality, excellent. Good. Well, Andrea. And of his wife Susanna Rutherford, eldest. Susanna, I wouldn't have thought that would be a particularly old name, but there you go. Susanna Rutherford, eldest daughter of Sir John Rutherford of that ilk, and Edgerstone, born at Edgerstone 1718, married to Whitebank, 1739, died at Edinburgh, in memory of Alexander William 13th Laird of Whitebank, died 2003. Helena Kathleen Grace Pringle, née Bennets. Here are interred the mortal remains of Alexander Pringle of Whitebank, born at the year 21st of November 1747. Mary Pringle, daughter of Sir Alexander Dick, Baronet of Prestonfield. John Pringle of Whitebank, born in Edinburgh 7th of March 1678. Christian Scott, his lady, eldest daughter of Patrick Scott of Ancram, Knight Baronet, born at Merton. Married Whitebank at Langnewton. Don't know where Langnewton is. Here you've got them even older. Let's see, so some of this is in Latin. In memoriam, Alexander Pringle, something, via a, so lived at, via a Whitebank. Notice it's now got an E on the end of it. Obit 25th April, so died 25th of April. Was Anno Dominus, or Anno Domini 1680 something, at 66. Never get enough Pringles, absolutely. In memoriam, somebody Pringle. Again, it's in Latin, but can't read it. 1680 something there. 27th of September, Anno Domini 1680. Beneath are interred the mortal remains of Granville Sinclair, youngest son of Sir George Sinclair of Ulverston, Ulster, in the county of Caithness, who was cut off in the first month of his school days at Selkirk, 3rd of May 1827 to the 19th of November 1833. There's a skull there. More Latin that I can't read, sadly. And notice these are fenced off so that you don't wear them away with your feet. There's the coat of arms up there for the white bags. Sacred to the memory of Hugh Scott of Gala, born 9th December 1822, died 19th of December 1877. He being dead yet speaketh. Hebrews 11:4. John Scott of Gala, he strove to do his duty. Henry Scott of Gala, captain of the 60th Rifles, fell in the defence of Calais, May 1940. So just before Dunkirk, I think. Beautiful, beautiful carvings. These left blank for future generations. It's 1635. Can't read the rest of it though. It's a stunning place, isn't it? It's stunning. Very beautiful. And you can imagine the monks living here, going about their business, doing all monkey things. Lay Brothers Refectory, or Dining Hall. The cross walls are later insertions. So yeah, this is the where the monks would eat in the 1400s, 1500s. Outside the main body of the abbey. Look how thick the walls are. Up to 1 metre thick in places, I would say. There's a lovely table and chairs under the tree. Thank you, the Mad. Let's see if we can get a nice shot over here. The Abbey and the Eildon. And the blossom from the trees. Isn't it gorgeous? So we're going to go to the other abbeys in the borders, I think. We'll go to Dryborough and Jedburgh and Kelso soon. Not sure when, but we'll go soon. There's a bee over there. In among the little wildflowers. So I think I'll take some pictures. Can't go upstairs, can't go up to the bell tower. But I think I'll take a few pictures because it looks nice with the blossom. So I think that'll do for today. We've had a good look around. It's been a year since I've been able to get into the Abbey. But I'm going to start going to more places soon, I think. Travelling around a little bit more and showing you more interesting places within Scotland. We'll do that shortly. So don't forget, make sure you're following here. If you're on Haps and you've not followed me, follow. Hang on. Thank you, Sky Owl. My pleasure, Whitley J. Watching on YouTube. Yeah, make sure you're following me wherever you're watching me. And follow me on all the other places as well. Thank you again, Gemma. That'll all help towards my travelling expenses for when I go to other places, of course. Make sure you follow some of the more interesting people in the chat as well. If they go to interesting places, like Gemma went to, where was it, Bolton Abbey just recently? And the Med went to a little farm. So follow the interesting people here as well. And I'll put some pictures up on my Twitter. Bolton Abbey got fountains, oh. Very nice. Oh, I've just seen a message come through saying great scope, but you clearly weren't seeing the Twitter live comments. I wasn't. No, haven't seen those. I shall see if I can watch back on Twitter, see if that works. Yeah, I'll take a few pictures and put them up on my Twitter as well. So thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thanks for being interested. Yes, you may well take screenshots. That's absolutely fine. I don't mind that at all. Take screenshots, put them wherever you want. Put them on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. As long as you give me credit, that's absolutely fine. I don't mind that at all. Yeah, so thanks for doing that, in fact. Yeah, and I will see you soon. I'll see you in another. Thanks for being here. I will see you all later. Cheerio, bye, everyone. Have a nice Saturday.